Finally, some fresh air.
Master David.
You could tell it was me.
Your footsteps. I ken the walk of everyone here.
Well, that's rather incredible.
Aye, that it is, laddie. That it is. I hear better than most. See more than most and all.
Father had a similar toolbox. Back when he still fixed things around the house. Probably didn't look much better before the storm. Must be hard to look after the plants when you can barely see them. When you talked about what they did to my father, what did you mean?
You shouldn't have come back. You canna go through what he did as a bairn and no be sick.
So his hospitalization was justified then?
Not for me to say. Before you think of putting down roots here, you should think on what the poison grown here did to your father. You can?
No, not really.
If you dinna mind, this door'll no mend itself.
I'll leave you to it then. Nobody left to mourn the dead or care for their graves, it seems. I've seen this before. In the painting. This is the grave I saw in that waking dream or whatever it was. The grave my father buried something in as a boy. Who's buried here? If I could just... these vines are too thick. I need something to cut through these. The graveyard. Is it a family plot?
Aye. No matter how high and mighty, all the Gordons end up there.
A cheery thought. It's a shame we do not have the means to properly care for the graves.
Why bother? His bones and food for worms.
May I borrow your bolt cutter?
Maybe. If I ken what you need it for.
The graves. I would like to tidy them up. That way I can pay my respects properly.
Is that a fact? Why's that then?
They are my family. They deserve to be remembered.
Fair enough, laddie. Just grab it yourself, will ye?
Better. Cecilia Shaw nee Gordon. Aunt Cecilia. Now, let's see if there's something really buried in here. Another piece of the castle model. Another part of the model, and it's stained with what seems to be old blood. Why did Father bury this when he was a child? How could I have known that something was buried here? I don't remember Father ever telling me about this grave. Father must have buried the chapel piece here for a reason when he was a boy. But why? And whose blood is it stained with? Father, I hope you found your peace. Were you sick, like they say you were? Or the victim of this curse? This curse of the Gordons? Whatever it is, I think you may have passed it on to me. The place is crumbling. Not the safest spot to pray. Being the chronicle of the family Gordon, as laid down by Sir Drummond Gordon, the year of our Lord 1413.
Local legend speaks of this particular glen as being inhabited from time immemorial. Enigmatic, elaborately carved Pictish stones stand as timeless evidence of this. As for the locals, they appear prideful of the counsel they delight in giving to visitors. Traveler, beware. The Celtic peoples arrived in this place like a great beast, bringing with them the bloodlines that would eventually spawn the Gordon clan. Using their superior numbers, knowledge, and machines of war, they swiftly conquered the primeval Picts. With them, they brought too their religion and druid clerics. The magics these wise men used did shape forever the lands, even until this present day. It is said that the sempiternal burden our family carries rose at that time. 'Tis well recorded how the Empire of Rome did fail to tame the wayward Scots, that they did even raise a barrier to protect their mighty empire. What is seldom told is the truth behind their defeat. Our ancestors drew upon ancient powers to aid their victory. Powers not easily fathomed by the fragile human mind. This aid did come at the greatest of costs, a debt as yet unsettled, a price we will continue to pay until the last Gordon passes to dust. O'er the centuries, we Gordons made the land our own. Others did bow to us, as we kept the secrets of Scahan Dubh, the secrets of the Black Mirror. Even as tragedy and madness did fester in our foundations, we held fast and steered the land through vile English attack and worse. In time, the Gordons and the land became one.
Some pages have been ripped out. The only thing left seems to be some kind of family oath.
In blood we are bound to the land we protect. To the truths we alone may conceal. I shall forfeit my life. Lest my clan should suffer, I shall forfeit my spirit to hold the darkness at bay. In blood we are bound till the day of the reckoning.
What on earth? Where's the cold coming from? Is this what madness feels like? It can't be real. All this looks like the bottom of a lake. What are you trying to show me? Father. Being the
Look. The kelp. You. With. At it. 'Tis well. Oh. This. Or. In.
some pay.
In. To the. I shall. To hold. To.
Is this what? All this looks like the bottom of a lake. What are you trying to show me? She's not holding a baby, but some heavy object to weigh herself down. I feel like I've missed something. There's a fresh wound across her stomach. The figure up there must be Edward.
Find my child! Are you all right?
Did you see her? She drowned.
Calm down, you're in shock. What were you doing clambering about in here?
If I told you, you'd think me mad.
Odd. That is just what your father said to me.
What? Who are you?
My name is Dr. Leah Faber. I treated your father at the asylum.
The asylum?
Let's get you back to the castle and make sure you are all right.
What did you come here for?
I'm not sure your father's story is finished yet, and there are some things I still need to make my peace with.
What's this about an asylum?
As I said, your father was admitted.
Why? Who did that to him?
I did. But unfortunately, he managed to escape.
What? Hold on a minute. How dare you come in here and...
Told you? Your father was a madman. A complete and utter madman. Don't mind me. Please continue.
Well, what right did you have to lock my father up in a madhouse?
I was his doctor. I understand you are in shock, but you have no right to speak to me in such a way. I was trying to help him.
He's dead. Capital job.
Now, hold on just a minute.
Oh, Jesus! Oh, no!
Eddie, it'll be all right. Pull yourself together.
I suggest nobody else goes down there. We should keep the room intact until the police can get here.
I shall alert them first thing in the morning. What an unfortunate accident.
An accident? You think so? Just after the madman's son turned up at our door?
And yet you were the one standing over her body with blood on your hands.
How dare you? I was too late. I was trying to help her. She...
There, my sweet boy. Let's get you to bed. Angus, would you?
Of course, ma'am.
I think we will all benefit from a good night's sleep.
I know you may have no reason to, but I need you to trust me. I'm the only one on your side when it comes to your father's death.
Lady Margaret certainly isn't. But if I told you what I saw in the chapel, you'd have me in a padded cell, just like my father. Why did you come here? To make sure my father was successfully in the ground?
With all due respect, Mr. Gordon, I will not allow you to speak to me or about my work in such a tone. I tried everything I could to aid your father. Your father was heavily drugged when he was brought to me, to prevent any further violent outburst, or so Lady Margaret had said. But something felt wrong, even then.
So, what was my father like when you locked him up?
I didn't just lock him up. I tried to help him. He was convinced he was carrying some ancient curse, that he was being haunted by evil. I wish I had reached him, had been able to reach him.
Maybe if I threw you a bone, you'd get off my back. Father was obsessed with the history of the family for as long as I can remember.
Did your father actually believe his family was out to get him?
Who knows? I think what scared him was beyond the physical. He used to babble about a dark force threatening him and our family.
Was that why he moved you to India? To get as far away as possible?
I believe so.
And yet, here you are, in the very place he sought to protect you from.
Who knows? Maybe there is an ancient evil in this place. An evil that drags us back no matter how far away we get. Even from the other side of the world.
And what do you think? Was your father right? Are there things beyond the physical?
I have other things to worry about right now. Things like a drowning woman floating in thin air. If you really want to help me, I need to find out what the maid knew. What Lady Margaret and Angus didn't want her to tell me.
You believe it got her killed?
Maybe. What I saw in the chapel, it has to be real. She must have drowned herself down at the loch. Because if it's all in my mind, like father, like son.
We need to examine the maid's body in the cellar.
To find out who killed her?
To be sure she was murdered before we start pointing fingers.
Angus will have the key. Unless we can find another way in. Rory's not one for cleaning up after himself. I think I might have an idea how to get into the cellar, but I'm not sure you'll like it.
If it involves this filthy dumbwaiter, don't even think about it.
I can't fit in there, and I see no other way into the cellar.
You're asking me to put a lot of trust in you, given the circumstances.
You can trust me, and I will do my very best to learn to trust you.
All right, then. Clothes can be washed. Lovely. Pull me back up! I need something to open the doors from the inside once I'm down there.
This should do it.
We need to examine the maid's body in the cellar.
To find out who killed her.
To be sure she was murdered before we start pointing fingers. Going down.
Good luck.
See you in a minute.
Dr. Farber. Is everything all right? Leah! Oh, if anything's happened to her.
You needn't worry about me. I've been to stranger places than this castle. Follow me.
They seem to be a house full of carnivores.
What a horrific way to die. What a horrific way to die. Her neck's been broken, and with some considerable force, it seems. Her necklace looks like gold, albeit a plain design. And it's missing any form of pendant.
Still, well beyond a maid's salary. It...
Mr. Gordon, are you with me?
Your stag is here, my little doe.
Little doe. Not exactly the usual way to address the staff.
Mr. Gordon? Speak to me, please.
We're all here, sir. All down in the dark. Something's coming. The attic, sir. She's in the attic.
What just happened? You look like you were in some kind of trance.
Perhaps the lack of sleep is affecting me. Or the visions that you'd think me insane if I described them to you.
You need to learn to trust me. I am on your side, remember?
So you say, but I remember you locked my father up too. A tiger can't change its stripes. The scene really did rip when she tried to get away from him.
Ugh, that's horrible.
You're not the one with your hand in it. French. I don't speak French.
I do. It says for Clara, forever yours. Who's Clara?
I don't know. Yet another relative, perhaps?
We should ask someone who's been around here for longer. How did you know it was there? The pendant, I mean.
If I told you, you wouldn't believe me. A hunch. Eddie gave this to her. We should ask him to his face just what his relationship was with her.
This isn't another ghost story, is it?
Look, you wouldn't understand. I can't...
What I do understand is that we could not accuse a man of murder without proof.
It's labeled Mallory. As in Eddie Mallory. Recognize that?
The necklace. Is that...
A young Eddie and his mother Clara.
I regret to inform you that your husband, Corporal Victor Mallory, number 874511, was killed in action with the enemy on the day of the 14th of September in Ypres. Your husband was involved in an advance against enemy lines. While he and his fellow soldiers fell, the action was successful, and you can take comfort in knowing his sacrifice saved many lives. It was not possible to get his remains away, and he was buried in a soldier's grave. Please accept the condolences of all the company. Yours, Captain Arthur Jones, 4th Army.
Thank you for your last letter.
My heart soars with every word of yours I read. I touch the ink and imagine your fingers are just inches from mine, that we can almost touch, that I can almost feel the warmth of your skin once more. Young Edward grows more like his father each day. You'd be amazed how he shares your looks. I long for the day that this terrible war is ended and you return home to us, so we can be a family once more. I shall write to you again soon. Know that until then you are always in our hearts. Your loving wife, Clara.
The date. She was writing this when the death notice arrived. Oh, the poor woman. You see? The necklace was his mother's. He gave it to the maid. The maid!
You're right. We need to speak to him about this. But how could you know this? I can't help you if you don't tell me.
Cousin Eddie might be a murderer. How I draw my conclusions can wait for now.
If you'd just like to wait out here, sir.
I need to speak with Eddie.
The young master and her ladyship are otherwise detained.
Fair enough. Eddie, I need to ask you about the maid. About Ailsa.
You didn't know her!
I know that you and her were... That is to say, I know you had feelings for her.
What? That's poppycock! You're as deranged as your father was!
David, really? You go too far with this behaviour.
The police will be here soon. Would you not prefer to clear this up before they get here in case they link Eddie with the crime?
Now look here, young lady. How dare you speak?
That's enough. Eddie. You gave her this. It was your mother's.
I did. It was.
Eddie!
I was just trying to cheer her up. She has nothing, and I had no need of it. You know she sends... You know she sent most of her money home to her grandmother.
Her clothing was ripped, as if someone was trying to force themselves upon her.
I would never have hurt her.
My little doe. Strange thing to call the help.
How? It was just harmless fun, that's all.
You're a worthless liar. You think she thought being pressed against a dead animal was harmless fun?
How do you know? It's true. Ailsa and I would never have laid a finger on her. We were in love. I helped her with everything, even with her chores. Rose and...
That's quite enough. Eddie, you are obviously upset. And you are not helping, David. Angus, will you please take the young master upstairs?
As you say, ma'am.
I think you have caused quite enough disruption here. We shall settle this heritage dilemma first thing tomorrow.
I don't think so. I have more questions now than ever. About my father, the maid, this whole damn house!
Have a care, David. Need I remind you of your father's temper?
I would never!
Given the current mental state of Master Eddie, who should be a part of the heritage considerations, any discussion on the topic would be futile at this point. Would you not agree?
Thank you, Leah. Maybe it's a good thing you're here after all.
Impudent brats!
What's going on?
Did you notice when Margaret got angry?
When Eddie mentioned... What was it? Chores involving a rose. What does that mean?
Something about the garden, perhaps? We could ask Rory. Or is it about the attic? Oh, I wonder. Whatever it is, it's something she doesn't want us to know.
The attic?
I saw the maid coming down the stairs with a tray. But there's nothing up there but an empty room.
Interesting.